Lisa, are you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready for this? Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's City Council meeting. Thank you to those who are joining us here in the Council chamber. Thank you to those who are joining us from wherever you are this evening or when you watching on BevCam. And as always, our thanks to Kim in the BevCam booth for keeping us streaming and accessible so that folks can follow our meetings at home or at times that are convenient for them. I would like to just walk through what's on our agenda before I officially call the meeting to order so that we can make sure that we're all on the same page about what's in front of us this evening. At the top of our agenda tonight, we have a presentation from members of our Human Rights Committee. Thank you all for being here. We're looking forward to hearing from you. We do have four resident speakers who have signed up to speak. As you know, these are spots that are available at all of our regular meetings. These are first come, first serve. They are for up to 3 minutes each, and they can be signed up for by contacting the city clerk no later than 9:30 the morning of the meeting. And so we do have 4 folks. We will try to get to everyone who's signed up as quickly in the agenda as we can. And we do have some public hearings that we have to open at our posted time. So folks, if you've signed up to speak, thank you. And I'll thank you in advance for any flexibility that you end up having to show, because we'll have to sort of fit things in around those public hearings, and I thank you for that. We do have public hearings that we'll be taking at their posted times. Then we've got some regular business to take care of. We'll take a brief break for some subcommittee work. We'll be back to finish it all up. And the only other thing I want to mention is that I was made aware that it is our budget analyst, Jerry Perry's birthday today. So happy birthday. I had to say it before I called it to order because it's not on the agenda. Happy birthday. So with that, I'll officially call to order this regular meeting of the Beverly City Council, Monday, February 2nd, 2026, 7:00 p.m. Happy Groundhog Day. And Ms. Kent, will you please call the roll?
Crowley. Here. Feldman. Here. Hausman. Here. Milady. Here. Rotundo. Here. Sonia. Here. Spang. Here. St. Hilaire. Here. And Flowers.
Here. Thank you, Ms. Kent. Councillor Spang, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Councillor Spang. I do just want to take a moment and just recognize a few members of our city staff who are here with us this evening. In addition, of course, to our budget analyst, Mr. Perry, we have our city solicitor, Beth Oldmixon, here with us this evening. Thank you very much, solicitor, for being here. Our animal control officer, Officer Lipinski, thank you for being here with us, as well as our chief of police, John Lasher. Thank you, chief, for joining us. And we do have our school committee president and District B school committee member, Lorinda Visnick, is back here with us. It's been a while, Ms. Visnick. I know you've been busy with school. It's nice to see you back in the chamber. Thank you for joining us. So we will go right to the top of our agenda. And as I mentioned, that brings us to a presentation. And we've got members of our Beverly Human Rights Committee. And specifically, the chair, Purvi Harley, is coming up to the podium. And so thank you all so much for joining us. And we'll turn the floor over to you for a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you all hear me okay? All right. Let me know if I need to speak up. I'm fighting a bit of a head cold. Good evening to our Honorable City Council. My name is Purvi Harley. I'm the current chairperson of the Beverly Human Rights Committee. I'm going to start off our presentation by reading our land acknowledgement that we start off with at each HRC meeting. This meeting takes place on the unceded ancestral lands of the Naumkeag and Pawtucket bands of the Massachusetts tribe, from whom the Commonwealth of Massachusetts took its name. With deep respect and gratitude, we acknowledge the indigenous caretakers of these lands and waters who have lived here for thousands of years and who live here in diverse indigenous communities today. The goal of our presentation tonight is twofold, and just to be clear, I'm here on behalf of the entire committee. I am here to, number one, raise awareness of what we've been up to in the last year plus, maybe even 2, since last time we were here in a presentation capacity. And two, ask for what is really amounting to urgent support and a recommitment to the Beverly Human Rights Committee in the form of oversight, partnership, increased membership, and better communication. So first, a summary of our activities over the last couple of years. Just note this is not an exhaustive list. It would take me far longer than 10 minutes to talk through everything we've been up to. But in summary, we've certainly supported the city's annual events such as the MLK Day breakfast, pride flag raising, and shown up in a committee capacity to rallies, parades, and events around the North Shore, as we believe strongly it is important to show up. We've established a robust intake tool and process that allows our committee to consider requests for support, commensurate with our own capacity and resources. Anyone's actually able to access this tool. It's usually at the top of our posted agendas. Although it is currently linked to a member's personal Google account, there is no sensitive information exchanged or collected, so this is sufficient for now, but honestly not sustainable long-term. We have offered counsel to city leadership, including the Honorable Mayor Cahill, in response to local, national, and international events that may affect our community. Nearly without exception, our advice is in response to an ask versus offered proactively. This is for a variety of reasons, even in response to certain asks for counsel. We are at risk of violating open meeting laws. This will come up later. In a couple of cases, we have inadvertently violated these. They've been remediated and addressed, to be sure. Proactive communication to the city is typically tough if we are not deliberating and discussing in our committee format. Again, due both to OML, but also our quorum. More on that later. We've had an ideation session, which was actually quite fun, generating creative ways to show up for the Beverly community and promote education about human rights. This was an energetic session led by the interim chair who preceded me, Mindy Topolito, also here tonight. And we walked away from it energized and straight into the throes of Trump's reelection and the chaos that followed. We met as a committee well beyond the required 4 times per year, despite scheduling, quorum, and technological challenges. Again, not an exhaustive list, but just want to give you a quick overview. Where we have fallen short for a variety of reasons. Number one, our ability to meaningfully connect with the community is limited. We have a Facebook page. It's largely just kind of there. It has little engagement and oversight. Many of our committee members are not even on Facebook or the platform in general or on any social media channels. So those that are on it are limited to, or we are constrained by it being managed by those who are on those platforms, and most of those that are on the platforms no longer feel safe on it. We've asked the city for a sponsored email address, a .gov email address, and we're in the process of finalizing the language that was requested by the city to release that. We have largely kept in touch with the community through our posted meetings and through our own individual connections throughout the community. Number two, despite our ideas coming out of the ideation session, we haven't honestly had the capacity or capability to move forward on more meaningful programming for the community. We're grateful that we've been able to show up when asked and that we've been able to start to make inroads on ideas that we've had. More meaningful engagement has been stymied due to largely our own capacity. Where we differ from most, if not all, other city committees is that our charter is extraordinarily wide in scope. It is not as straightforward and clear as help the city compost more, reduce waste, reduce Beverly's carbon footprint, and a whole host of other much more focused charters. We are a group of Beverly residents who care deeply about our communities and human rights, and so seeing them show up for every single resident of this community, housed, unhoused, any really person who is part of our community in any way. And beyond that, we do need real and more consistent support from the city and guidance and structure. And most importantly, and similarly to so many volunteer city committees, truly we understand this. We are resource constrained. We often run into issues being able to meet due to quorum requirements that are inconsistent with our seated membership. And just to shed a little bit more light on what I mean there, our charter calls for 11 committee members. We have 7 seated right now. Our quorum requirement is 6, and so that means if a single member has an issue meeting, we're already at the top of our quorum requirement. We have obviously 7 people with 7 lives, 7 families, 7 households to care for, and extenuating circumstances that have more than once caused problems here. We have asked and have been denied the opportunity to adjust our quorum requirements via, not in this direct forum, but via, I believe, quorum assessments that were made a year-ish ago by the council. And so we have had, as I mentioned, more than one occasion where we've had to either cancel meetings, make concessions in our personal and work life simply so that we could meet and start a meeting. I once jumped into a coat closet at a work event to call into a meeting so that the committee could carry on the meeting. This is not sustainable, clearly. And I'm not the only one that has had to make those concessions, to be clear. So why are we here, aside from all of this reporting? A committee like the Human Rights Committee doesn't work without consistent and meaningful accountability and a regular recalibration against the needs of the community. Therefore, we are coming to you with some specific asks to help us get to a point of meaningful progress. Our requests: number 1, clarity and leadership from the council, steady council representation, an assigned council representative for the Human Rights Committee, consistent guidance to and from the mayor's office, consistent attendance at our meetings by someone from the mayor's office. We are aware of the challenges that the city has faced from a staffing perspective and are looking forward to working in lockstep now that some important seats have been filled and the mayor election is behind us. Number 2, increased membership. We're doing what we can with who we have, and who we have are quite amazing, by the way. But we do need to increase and widen representation. A variety of viewpoints and perspectives are essential for this committee to function as it was intended. We would be doing ourselves a disservice if we were to just grow the committee through our own connections, as we would build the committee in a way that might skew the perspective of the committee and not be representative of the entire community. Our committee built and provided the mayor with a matrix of skills based on the available seated members, or based on the seated members, both skills and areas of interest that allow any applicant to the committee to be assessed against this matrix to ensure that the committee is balanced from the standpoint of skills. As an example, while it would be lovely to have 10 human rights lawyers as part of our committee, is that the best and most widest representation of our community? We are not aware of any usage of this tool yet. As a side note on increased membership, we also have we've had no youth representation as of Braden Will and Brock's resignation as of, I think, August of last year. And that is, we found a very important addition to the conversation, as well as a really delightful source of energy for the committee. We also, on the final point on membership, we have several members terming off. We have a 2-term limit. One of our 7 members is hitting that 2-term limit as of April. 2 other members, myself included, are hitting our 1st term limit in May. And so with that in mind, membership is a real urgent need. 3rd, quorum modification. I mentioned before that our quorum requirement is 6, and this has caused significant issues with consistent meeting ability and chaos when one person has to, for very good reasons, not be able to show. We are asking that our quorum requirement be adjusted and recalibrated to the seated members of the committee versus the available seats. So we are able to convene with less friction and less worry of open meeting laws and giving these really important topics the time and energy they deserve. And 4th, city seats. There are 2 appointed city seats, one from the Beverly Police Department and one from Beverly Public Schools. And with true immense gratitude for the service of Chief LaLisher and Principal Gabrielle Montevecchi, we are asking for additional consideration for these city-appointed seats. Examples of what should be sorted out by you, the council. What is the purpose for and connection to these seats? Are these the right seats? Are there enough seats? Should there be others? Should the persons in these appointed seats be rotated on a regular basis so as to have fresh perspective and knowledge at the table? Should they be proxies or non-voting members of the committee? And while it's important to have these connections at the table, is it really fair to add what is additional subcommittee work and other substantive effort to their already overflowing plates? We also request to have attendance and/or voting proxies for the city staff that are appointed. And those are the BPS and BPD, and then youth representatives. So with that, I just wanted to conclude by truly, truly appreciating the leadership and passion that codified this committee to begin with just over 10 years ago, starting with Councilor Rand and reaching a high point of activity under the leadership of Kezia Johnson, Leah Jones, and many others. We've reached a point where this council's leadership and action is needed to move this committee forward to its next stage of development activity, and I can't stress enough how important it is in this time. I would love to take any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harley, and thank you to the other members of the committee as well, those who are here and those who are not able to be here this evening but have been working very hard, as you have described, to continue that work and moving it forward. I will open it up for questions. Councilors, we may not be able to take as many questions as you may have in the time that we have, so I can hear, I think, in this beginning of a conversation, and so this doesn't have to be the end of an ongoing conversation and relationship. I did want to mention one positive, or I hope it will be a positive, having heard or having sensed that there was a desire for a more regular council liaison, as some other committees have. As of the inauguration, you do have an appointed city councilor, and it's me. So hopefully we can have a good relationship working together. I hope that's good news to you.
We'll deliberate.
Yeah. Get back to me on it. But thank you for raising that, and hopefully that can be one of several steps that we can take to address being able to continue this committee's work together. Councilors, are there questions or comments for Ms. Harley? Councilor Milady.
I'm kind of cheating because I guess my question's for the council. If we were to address the concerns about the quorum, is that something that the council would need to do, or how would that?
I'm looking at the solicitor because
I was looking at Scott.
I'm Solicitor Olmixon. I had this question myself, and I just wondered if you could assist us with whether or not that's something that the council could do.
Go back there so I don't have my back.
You can.
Yes, it is something that was considered during ordinance review and can certainly be reconsidered with respect to this particular committee, or perhaps some other committees where there could be some change in how quorum is established. There are certain committees that there cannot be a change. This is one where there could be a change.
Thank you very much, Solicitor. Councilor Milady, does that help answer your question as well?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Solicitor. Thank you, Councilor. Are there other questions or comments from the council for Ms. Harley at this time? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. I think this, as I said, is the beginning of what I feel like is a conversation and really productive work together. And thank you to the committee for the work that you've done on behalf of our community. And thank you for being here to give us this update. We'd love to have you back with some regular check-ins as well. I think this is valuable for us to be able to hear what you're doing. Thank you so much. We have some time now before our public hearings are scheduled to begin. And so I would like to take some of those speakers who have signed up to speak. For folks who are just joining us now, I will just mention, again, these are 5 public comment slots that are available at any of our regular meetings. These are for residents, folks who live and work in the city. And they can be signed up for by contacting the city clerk's office no later than 9:30 the morning of the meeting. And they are first come, first served. There are 5 slots available at any regular meeting for up to 3 minutes each. And so our first speaker signed up tonight is Neil Levine. Mr. Levine, if you would come to the podium. If you would begin with your name and address for the record. And Vice President St. Hilaire, would you mind keeping time for us? Mr. Levine, if you hear Vice President St. Hilaire's timer go off, that will just signify the end of your 3 minutes, and if you would draw your remarks to a close at that point, so we can keep things equitable for every speaker. Thank you.
I'll be brief, thanks. Good evening, Madam President and members of the council. My name is Neil Levine, 36 Thorndike Street. I'd like to congratulate all the council members on their recent election and re-election. And I congratulate you, Madam President, for your return to leadership of the council. Thank you all for your service. As you begin your deliberations this evening, I hope you will reflect on and include those who aren't often in these rooms, those living at the edge of our society, those in need, immigrants, the disabled, the unhoused, those who lack health care, and those who tonight live in fear about the state of our union. We watch in horror about what has happened in Minneapolis. The conduct of armed officers of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, must be made accountable. We see with our own eyes what has happened in Maine, in Boston, in Lynn, in Gloucester. We need no more examples of neighbors being picked up at workplaces, courthouses, schools, and houses of worship. ICE may not be deployed tonight in our community, but the fear is already here. It is already affecting our neighbors who live and work in this community. It's time for action. Last week, Governor Maura Healey took steps to ensure accountability of ICE to our country's laws. She issued an executive order to prohibit local government agreements that deputize ICE officials with arrest powers. The executive order also prohibits state facilities and other property owned or controlled by the executive department from being used by federal immigration officers for civil immigration enforcement efforts. Your immediate action is now required to make our neighbors safe here in Beverly. I ask that you, together with His Honor the Mayor, consider the following actions. First, that you clarify and publish the city's policy on cooperation with ICE consistent with the governor's executive order. I understand that members of the council and the school committee have already initiated conversations with the mayor and the superintendent about how best to do this, and I thank you for this important conversation. Second, and as you've heard tonight, that you and the mayor immediately address the vacancies on the Beverly Human Rights Committee, which this council created as a key part of the peace infrastructure of our community. The committee often lacks a quorum in order to take official action. We need them whole and active now more than ever. Third, I ask that you find ways to use your convening power to express your support for keeping the people of Beverly secure in their person. You have the ability to do this through informational events, celebrations, and convening our business, faith, and service communities united in this effort. As you were elected to serve us, we need to know you have our backs. As citizens, as neighbors, and as human beings with inalienable rights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Levine. Thanks for being here with us this evening. And I should have mentioned at the outset, before calling up any of our speakers, I typically do also mention this. Although you just saw in the presentation spot, for example, there was a time for question and answers. These spots are not similar in that way. There's not a question and answer session with our speakers, but I always like to reiterate that even if there's not a mechanism here for conversation back and forth, the council is listening, and we really value having speakers here with us and sharing what is on your mind, and it often, very often, informs our future conversation, so thank you for being here. Our next speaker signed up is Aya Siddiqui. If you would come to the podium as well, and then if you hear the timer go off, Vice President St. Hilaire's timer go off, if you would draw your remarks to a close at that point.
Good evening, councilors. My name is Aisha Siddiqui. I live in Ward 3. My address is on file. Thank you to Pervy and the Human Rights Committee for opening their presentation with a land acknowledgement. Tonight, I continue my request from January 20th. I urge the council to pass a law that bans any future agreements or collaborations with ICE, such as the 287G program, which makes local law enforcement an extension of ICE. Banning these types of agreements shows our community that you are standing for justice and equity and dignity. Many of you have emails from constituents in your inboxes about this very matter. I will now share feedback from members of the community and the Social Justice Book Club. From Hannah Carney in Ward 1, Ryleside. I have lived in Beverly for the past 2 years. Previously, I lived in in Minneapolis, the city that became the global epicenter of racial injustice in 2020 when George Floyd was murdered at the hands of police. Minneapolis is in the headlines again because immigrants and allies are being targeted by ICE. This is not the world I want to live in. I hope you, as leaders of Beverly, choose to listen to our residents who are blamed and harmed for simply existing. Let's start by keeping our most marginalized and vulnerable safe. Refuse to cooperate with ICE or any other entity that requires terrorizing our own community members and breaking up families. This is one action that we can take to build a better future together. Now from an anonymous resident in Ward 2, downtown. Do not let DHS take over our community police force. We will never get it back. No 287G. From an anonymous resident in Ward 5, North Beverly. I fear for a member of my family who is a naturalized citizen and resides in Beverly because he isn't white. ICE's blatant racial profiling means that even naturalized citizens who played by the rules and may have completed the appropriate paperwork and citizenship process years ago must fear being threatened and/or detailed by ICE. Beverly police officers themselves do a great job, but my family fears that racist ICE agents will impede Beverly Police's usual respectful practices. From Heather Cannon in Ward 6, Beverly Farms. I urge you to say no to 287G agreements with ICE. I also urge the City Council to pass a law to ban Beverly Police from entering into agreements with ICE. As a resident of Beverly, I do not want local law enforcement to assist ICE in their aggressive deportation agenda. This will break whatever trust is left with local law enforcement, along with risking severe civil rights violations. Now back to me. The council has the power to take local action now. There are several bills in the state legislature, such as Governor Healy's bill that she filed last week, also the PROTECT Act and the Safe Communities Act, and you'll get an email with links for all of these from me. But you don't have to wait for the State House. You, our trusted leaders of Beverly, can act now and take a stand.
Thank you very much, Ms. Siddiqui. Thank you for being here with us. Our third speaker signed up this evening, and I should mention for anyone who's been following on the agenda, there was a 7:30 hearing posted for a National Grid petition. National Grid has withdrawn that petition, and so our first hearing is actually posted for 7:40. So we'll continue with our speakers who have signed up. Our next speaker is Carol Rain. Ms. Rain, if you also would go to the podium. When you're ready, begin with your name and address for the record. And for you as well, if you hear Vice President St. Hilaire's timer go off, if you would draw your remarks to a close at that point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I am Carol Rain. I live at 27 Pratt Avenue. Although I'm a member of the Beverly Human Rights Committee, right now I'm speaking as an individual. These remarks might sound disconnected from each other, but they are connected. I want to commend the Beverly Police Department for their ongoing training in de-escalation, which I had an opportunity to witness last week and was very impressed. Thank you. I'm ashamed to admit that although my heart broke whenever I heard about any of the 37 ICE killings last year, it felt different to me when it was Renee Good and Alex Preddy. I, like everyone else, hold biases without my conscious awareness. Beverly turns 400 this year, and I turn 80. I've been speaking up since Vietnam, and now the volume needs to be louder. Please speak up with me as loud as you can in every way that you can to keep ICE out of Beverly. I'm going to read a short poem now written by Bridget Moy, the lead of the Friends Committee on National Legislation, It will sound familiar to you at the beginning, but it's different from the one that's years old. First, they came for the immigrants and refugees, and I spoke up because immigrants and refugees are our neighbors. Then they came for transgender people, and I spoke up because transgender people are our neighbors. Then they came for the poor and the vulnerable, and I spoke up because they too are our neighbors. Then they came for the aid workers, the federal workers, and the civil servants, and I spoke up because they too are our neighbors. Then they came for the students, the teachers, and the universities, and I spoke up because they too are our neighbors. Then they came for us, and we spoke up because we are called to love all of our neighbors, no exceptions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rain. Thank you for being here with us this evening. And then we do have time before our public hearing to do our fourth speaker, which our first speaker is Steve Moffett. Mr. Moffett, if you as well would begin with your name and address for the record, and if you hear the timer go off, if you would draw your remarks to a close. Thank you so much.
All right. Steve Moffett, 32 Eastern Ave. Thanks everyone else for speaking so far. Just to echo their statements, just want to say sympathy is not solidarity. But in a less righteous comment, I'd also like to make a comment about this year's budget. So far, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank everyone for being proactive, and especially Councilor Feldman for your comments last summer to try to urge that. As we're going forward between the budget and just, I guess, a number of topics that keep coming up for public discussion, I wanted to highlight feeling that we need to take a moment to be more holistic and zoom out when we're having these discussions. I think when we talk about things like the Family Dollar, we get really focused on the details of that project and forget what it means to put money into that project and where that money gets taken away from. We could be doing things with the library, we could be doing things with City Hall that may be better for the community than just putting in a lot of money to save some parking. Also want to think bigger when we're trying to solve some of the shortfalls. I think people are coming up with creative ideas for trying to play with fees, play with other techniques that we could, but I think whenever we've talked about this historically, one of the biggest ways that you tackle this problem is with new growth. And that's where we can start thinking bigger again. When we talk about the Family Dollar, we could talk about undoing the mistake of putting a height limit downtown that we did before. That would enable more growth there. We could talk about the Bass River overlay. This is the prime time to start having that conversation. Construction in the Bass River overlay would be the best right now when there isn't any traffic. It's only going to be more inconvenient when a bridge is complete and everyone's directed there while Kernwood is unoperational. We could talk about the Beverly golf and tennis area. Currently, I think, operates at break even. There's use for that land, maybe that'd be better suited for open green space for the community and a mix of other development to bring in more of these kind of dreams that we have for what uses we could have for space in our community for each other. I guess with that, that's the extent of ideas, but I just want to, again, encourage people to try to bring in the entire conversation of the budget in these more focused conversations and try to think a little bigger in what our aspirations are for. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moffett. Thank you also for being here with us this evening. To all of our speakers and also to our presenters from the Human Rights Committee, you are welcome to stay with us for as much of the meeting as you wish. I also always like to mention that you don't have to feel that you can't get up and go as you need to. And so I know sometimes the meetings get long, so please feel like you can come and go as you need. And please feel welcome to join us for the rest of the time as well. As I mentioned, our 7:30 hearing was withdrawn by the petitioner by National Grid, and so we do have a few minutes before our 7:40 hearing is scheduled to begin. If there are members of the public here to speak in any of the public hearings that are scheduled this evening, there are sheets on the table over by the window to my right, by the other entrance of the chamber. You can add your name to the public hearing during which you hope to speak, and we will take public speakers in the order that they are signed up for each of those hearings. Ms. Kent, let's go through some of the business that we can before we get to that first hearing. The first item is that we do have some meeting minutes that we can approve under acceptance of minutes of previous meetings. We have one set of meeting minutes from our regular city council meeting from January 20th, 2026. Is there a motion to approve that set of minutes? So moved. All those in favor? Aye. That carries 9-0. Thank you. Ms. Kent, let's go to communications from His Honor the Mayor, please.
Order number 53, a transfer request from the reserve for unforeseen accounts of $160,000 to be placed into the dispatch department to support costs related to operations.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property, and we'll set a public hearing.
Order number 54, a transfer request from the Recreation Enterprise Fund balance of $150,000 to support costs related to park projects and improvements throughout the city.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property as well to set a public hearing.
Order number 55, a donation for $2,000 from the Friends of the Beverly Public Library to benefit the Beverly Public Library.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property.
Order number 56, home rule petition regarding police chief mandatory retirement age.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs. Let's go to communications from other city officers and boards, please, Ms. Kent.
Order number 57 from Assistant City Solicitor Jesse Dole, a grant of permanent easements at 80 and 84 Cabot Street.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 57 from Assistant City Solicitor Jesse Dole, 80 Cabot Street, available for disposition.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order 57B from Assistant Solicitor Jesse Dole, grant of permanent easements of 80 Cabot Street.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 57C, Assistant City Solicitor Jesse Dole, 84 Cabot Street, available for disposition.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 57D from Assistant Solicitor Jesse Dole, grant of permanent easements of 84 Cabot Street.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs as well.
Order number 58 from Assistant Solicitor Jesse Dole, proposed amendments to Chapter 117-Animals.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 59 from Council St. Hilaire, requests that the Parking and Traffic Commission review removal of a crosswalk at the intersection of Hale Street and Juniper Street in Beverly Farms.
Councilor St. Hilaire, this is a request, we will forward your request to Parking and Traffic. Is there anything you wanted to say about this one at this time, however?
Yeah, it's actually good news. We paved Hale Street last year, and in the process, a crosswalk was removed that had been there for a long time, so just asking the Parking and Traffic Commission to review it. Residents have been pretty well inconvenienced. It's a main connection point, served a lot of residents for a long time. So due to safety concerns, have asked that Parking and Traffic Commission take a look at this.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Councilors, I think we can take care of this one on the floor. I'd entertain a motion to forward this to Parking and Traffic as requested by Councilor St. Hilaire. So, second. All those in favor? That carries 9-0, and so we will, then when we receive their response, Councilor St. Hilaire will be able to take that up as seems appropriate at that point.
Order number 60 from Council St. Hilaire, a request that the Parking and Traffic Commission review the traffic signage posted on Common Lane.
Councilor St. Hilaire, the
Yeah,
same question.
same sort of issue. Common Lane was repaved, which was a great thing. In the process, a lot of feedback related to speeding and safety, a lot of dog walkers, bikers, in general. We've talked about adding a sidewalk on Common Lane for a long time. Funding hasn't been there yet for that. We recently did Cross Lane. This would be another key connection. So what is appropriate down there? Residents are asking for more signage. Just asking the Parking and Traffic Commission, see what we can do to help with public safety on Common Lane.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilors, I would entertain a motion to forward this to Parking and Traffic as requested by Councilor St. Hilaire. All those in favor? That carries 9-0 as well, and we are at 7:40, so why don't we pause on these communications, and we will go to our first public hearing. This is a public hearing which is on order number 48, so we'll open that now. This is National Grid Petition 312-47668. Ms. Kent.
Order number 48, City of Beverly, order that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, February 2nd, 2026 at 7:40 PM at 191 Cabot Street, third floor, Council Chambers, relative to a National Grid Petition 312-47668 to install underground facilities on Cabot Street. And this was in the newspaper on January 23rd.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. I believe our National Grid rep is here. Thank you so much. If you would come to the podium. Thank you for joining us. Is there anything that you'd like to say to get us started talking about this National Grid petition?
Good evening, Ismail Miku, 44 River Street, Beverly, Massachusetts. I'm here today to petition for the address 300 Dodge Street. The work order is 31247668, and the work is National Grid is petitioning to install about 5 feet, 3 inches PVC conduit from the existing pole 1016 on Dodge Street to the property of 300 Dodge Street. And the reason will be to connect our customer, the new construction at 300 Dodge Street. I think the first one was, I'm sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. The reason that there was a pause, I'm flipping to the petition. I know the petition itself says Cabot Street. I see that,
The first one at Cabot Street was the one withdrawn for tonight, and the second one is for 300 Dodge Street.
Order 47 was withdrawn.
No, there was one that was withdrawn before it got to the agenda, but then.
Madam President?
Yes.
So I'm looking at the petition for 300 Dodge Street. At the beginning of it, it also talks about National Grid to install underground facilities on Cabot Street, beginning 645 feet east of the center line of the intersection with Beaver Pond Road and Dodge Street, and continuing 5 feet in a north direction.
Yes, that, my apology, that must be an error from our engineer. This petition is only at 300 Dodge Street, which is petitioning for installing a PVC pipe from the pole to the private property about 5 feet in Dodge Street only.
So,
Oops, I'm sorry, Councilor Spang, go ahead.
so none of the work is in Cabot Street.
No.
Thank you, Councilor Spang. Councilor Spang, you just mentioned what I was looking at, so thank you for raising that. Councilor Rotundo.
Can we hold this until we get better clarification on this? This seems to be a little going back and forth of what the actual location is.
Yes, I think we could keep this public hearing open and get more clarification on this one, so if that's your request. So why don't we keep the public hearing on this petition open? Let's request that information from National Grid, just for clarity. If anybody was here to speak on this public hearing, I want to make sure members of the public have a chance to do that. So Ms. Kent, would you mind grabbing the sign-up sheet, just so that folks did not come tonight and not get to speak? Okay. We did have one member of the public who did sign up to speak on this public hearing, Joe Scherer. If I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I apologize. I'd like to make sure that you get a chance to speak, even if we're keeping the hearing open, which just means it will continue. So please, if you'd begin with your name and address for the record.
Joseph Scherer, Scherer, 320 Dodge Street.
Thank you.
We're in a butter. So the National Grid gentleman just advised us that there's new construction planned at that facility at 300. And so it raised my curiosity as to what was planned and why would we want to grant this request without knowing what else was involved. Because doing so is kind of putting the cart before the horse. So that's the reason why I'm interested in knowing more about the details. I know that the town has a lien on the property for agricultural purposes. And it's my understanding that in the middle of, like June or July of '27, that lien will be released because the gentleman has completed the payments that are needed to have that agricultural lien removed. So more information is needed in order for me to feel comfortable about what's being done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Were there other members of the public here this evening who hope to speak in this public hearing? Okay. Counselors, I think we have some questions. It sounds like there's other questions that we'd like some clarity on. I would entertain a motion then to recess this public hearing until our next regular meeting at 8:10 p.m. That would be February 17th, 8:10 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
That carries 9-0. So this public hearing will pick up at our next regular meeting, the 17th of February at 8:10 p.m. And we will request information from National Grid to get some clarity before that time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know we have actually we do not. Thank you. We will get that information and look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you very much for being with us. We do have a few minutes before our 7:50 hearing. So Ms. Kent, let's go back to communications from other city officers and boards, please.
Order number 61 from Councilors St. Hilaire and Milady, a request to hold a public meeting on the city's utilization and plan for Camp Paradise located at 44 Cole Street.
Councilor St. Hilaire, Councilor Milady, is there anything you'd like to say about this one at this point?
Anything, John? Counselor?
I'll defer to you.
I mean, I would just say, Madam President, thank you. Received some resident feedback after the recent Salem News article that I attached along with the order. Really just trying to get a better understanding for residents of what is possible at that location. There's a feeling perhaps it's underutilized resource for the city, and just better understanding what the city's plan is. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, councilors. Councilors, in reviewing your letter and your request, there's a request to invite some of our department heads, also the mayor. My suggestion is that we keep this under unfinished business from a previous meeting to allow me to contact those folks and invite them, and then convene a special meeting of the council at which we could have this conversation, if that's agreeable. All right. So Ms. Kent, let's keep this one under unfinished business, and we will move forward in that path.
Order number 62 from President Flowers, a reappointment and salary increase of City Council Budget Analyst Gerard D. Perry.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property.
Order number 63 from the City Clerk, a renewal application for a Class 2 motor vehicle license for Elite Collision Center, DBA All Wheels, 97 Park Street.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 64 from the City Clerk, a renewal application for a Class 3 motor vehicle license for Elite Collision Center, DBA All Wheels, 97 Park Street.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs. Let's go to communications, applications, and petitions, please, Ms. Kent.
Order number 65 from National Grid, petition 311-24344 to install underground facilities on Broadway.
Please refer that to the Committee on Public Services to set a public hearing.
Order number 66, a notice of filing and public hearings.
Councilors, I would entertain a motion to receive that and place it on file. All those in favor? That carries 9-0, so we'll place that one on file. Thank you. And that does bring us to time for our next public hearing. And so we will officially open the public hearing posted for 7:50 on order number 49. Ms. Kent.
Order number 49, City of Beverly, order that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, February 2nd, 2026 at 7:50 p.m. at 191 Cabot Street, 3rd floor, Council Chambers, relative to GoNet Speed petition to install underground facilities on Ashton Street. And this was in the newspaper on January 23rd.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. Is there a representative from, thank you. If you would not mind coming to the podium, if you begin with your name and address, and then anything that you'd like to say to begin our conversation on this petition.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us speak. My name is Heidi Mahoney. I'm the Manager of Government Affairs at GoNet Speed. I live in Maine, so I don't know that you need my address there. These petitions are specific locations. Let me back up, actually. GoNet Speed is bringing internet service providing fiber as a competitive internet service provider to Beverly. And the majority of our installation is going to be aerial on the utility poles, which we are working with utility pole owners to get the proper licensing to attach to those utility poles. There are some short runs that we are asking for you to consider for us to put conduit in the ground. So these 3 petitions that are before you are specific locations for underground construction that allow us to complete short connections in the network without triggering pole replacements or extended pole work. The pole replacement can take a long time and often results in temporary double poles, which communities generally don't like. And these short underground segments avoid double poles, reduce visual impacts, and allow the network to be completed more efficiently and more permanently.
Thank you very much. Councilors, are there questions? Oh, Councilor Rotundo.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a few of them. One of them, Ashton Street, is in my ward. First question is, how did you come to Ashton Street to pick as your first testing site?
So it's more about that we received make-ready back from the pole owners, and the poles that they're saying on that particular street would take a long time for us for them to get to complete our network. So it is a part of the larger network that we're building in Beverly. So most of the surrounding area will be aerial. It's just that one short segment that would end up being underground. And just to highlight, we do work in the softscape. So we'd be going basically from pole to pole in the softscape with restoration happening right after.
Councilor.
I do have a lot, but I'll keep it simple for a couple. You say softscape, which I'm assuming you mean grass or
Yes.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
And so how would that impact if someone was looking to plant a tree? How far do these fiber optics go down below ground?
So we remain 100% in the public right-of-way. So we will do a dig-safe notification before we go out and do anything to make sure that we're avoiding any utilities that are in the public right-of-way. In terms of a tree, I would assume that that person would also have to probably do a dig-safe if they're digging in the area where utilities might be. So that would be my answer to that.
Okay, so I guess more or less do you have an idea of how many locations within the city? I know you've only picked a few of them, but do you have an idea of how many? Because you're sort of kind of setting a process in place. We have relationships with National Grid, with Verizon, and you're a newer company, so there's a lot of unknown questions happening.
Yeah, so we're starting with these 3 sort of as the test to see how it goes. There's a chance that there could be up to 10 to 15 of them total throughout the city. It would be spread out and to make sure that we're accommodating those.
One more question, Madam President. Thank
please.
you. And then, I don't want to assume it, but you are working with our engineering department because restoration's a very big thing to us, even though you're doing softscape. Who's to say that you may not have to go into the asphalt? And I know Ashton Street's a fairly newer street.
Yep.
So I just, again, what's your relationship and your working relationship with our engineering department currently?
Yeah, so we're in constant communication with them. As you can see from the applications that we put forward, hopefully you were able to see those. We had a discussion with them about what that might look like. If there's a chance that we need to go under a driveway or something, we use directional boring, so there is minimal impact. And it is very important to us to make sure that we're leaving it in the same or better condition that we started with.
That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. Councilor Spang and then Councilor Houseman, please.
Thank you. Through you, Madam President.
Yes.
Does GoNet Speed typically do its own work when you're doing that boring, or do you hire a contractor for that?
We would have trusted contractors as well as our own technicians, our own contractors.
So, for the actual boring, do you use contractors for that, or you use?
Usually we do, yes.
Okay. Because one of our city's policies is to make sure that any company that's going to be working in the streets or near the streets is licensed through the city too.
Yep, for sure.
And then you talked about how you want to bring the fiber internet to Beverly. Is it are there any places that have GoNet speed right now in Beverly?
Not in Beverly, no. In surrounding communities, yes. We're currently in East Hampton, we're in Springfield, we're in Ludlow, we're in Amherst. We're moving more this way now.
And I know you said part of why if I may continue.
Yes, you may.
Thanks. Part of why you've chosen these 3 spots or these 3 petitions is because of the pole connections and talking to the utilities that own the poles. Do you have plans to bring the fiber network to all neighborhoods in Beverly?
Right now, oh, sorry.
Just 'cause I represent Ward 2, which has a lot of environmental justice communities, and just wanting to make sure that whatever fiber cable comes to Beverly, make sure that it comes everywhere.
Yeah, so right now, we approach our build in phased builds. We're projecting about at 85% right now of Beverly in phase 1. Phase 2 are the more challenging areas where it is more of an underground neighborhood or a private road that would require an easement, that kind of thing. And we do work with environmental groups all the time to make sure that we're adhering to those rules.
That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Spang. Councillor Houseman.
Madam President, I have several questions, if I may.
You may.
First question, could you elaborate on the logistical need to do the underground installation as opposed to pole to pole?
Sure. When we get the make-ready back from, and I'll back up a little bit, basically the pole owners, which are Verizon and National Grid in this area, will look at the pole, they'll survey it and tell us what we need to get done on the pole. If the pole doesn't have room, oftentimes they'll have to replace that pole with a taller pole. And in these instances, we found that there was going to be a significant amount of pole replacements. So we thought it would be more, it would be quicker for us to be able to get the network done and without having to do those pole replacements.
So the proposal or the permit request to do this is for the convenience in both time and money for your company?
There's certainly, it makes it easier for us, but also allows us to deliver the network faster to the people that we want to deliver it to. And without having to, for example, I know double poles, so if they replace a pole with a taller pole, there's going to be that second pole sitting there waiting for attachers to move their facilities over. And it allows us to sort of eliminate that as well.
And to follow up on the question posed earlier about the extent of these, potentially the extent of these permit requests, you said up to 10 or 15?
From what we're seeing right now, that's what it looks like, yes.
And when you say what we're seeing right now, can you elaborate on what that means?
We put the applications into the poll owners. We don't often get the make-ready back all at the same time. So from what we're seeing currently, from what we've received back, that's what it looks like in terms of potential applications to you folks.
So that number, through you, Madam President, that number could change?
It could change, yes.
It could change in the upward direction, and there'd be...
Likely, yes.
Right. I do wonder about your comment about communication with the engineering department, because I exchanged emails with the Beverly's Commissioner of Public Services. His reply back to me indicated that he was of the impression that these installations could occur throughout the city. And from what you're telling me, these are really intended to be limited in number and scope, which suggests that our Commissioner of Public Services doesn't really have good communication and a good handle with your company on exactly what you're proposing to do. I guess I'll leave it for now. We have a public hearing that'll affect my ward, and I'll wait for my comments and questions related to that, for that public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Spang.
Thank you, Madam President. I actually have a question either for you or maybe for the solicitor, but can we submit these petitions to the Public Services or Engineering Department to find out whether it will impede on anything in the public right-of-way or any plans that they may have for these properties?
Yes, actually, I thought what I would like to do with all three of these, because I think we're learning quite a bit about them, is to hold these open as well, which would allow us, Counselor Spang, to gather more information if the hearing remains open. So thank you for asking that. That would be my hope for these.
And then I have one more question,
Please.
if that's okay.
It is okay.
You mentioned that there are 10 to 15 applications that you know of that would probably require underground. A lot of Ward 2 has underground electric service already, so are you planning for those as well? Are those included in the 10 to 15 or?
No, those are a more extensive underground build. So those would be much more extensive than these short runs that we're talking about here. That isn't to say that they're not in our plan to build eventually. They're just not in the first phase usually.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Spang. Solicitor Oldmixon, I didn't look to my right when I was answering Counselor Spang. Was there anything you wanted to add to that as a question for either one of us? No. Okay, thank you. Was there something else that you wanted to? No, I'll wait. Okay, thank you. Counselor Houseman, I saw your hand.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Yeah, just following up, I forgot to mention that Mr. Collins, our Commissioner of Public Services, was also of the impression that the installation of these conduits would impede the ability of the city in planting trees in the areas where these conduits are installed. So could you speak a little bit to that issue in terms of whether trees could be planted above these conduits, how that would work?
Unfortunately, I don't think they would be able to because we'll be going between pole lines. So you'll have wires above those, above where the conduit would be anyway, I believe. So I'm not sure that a tree would get planted there, but certainly we would be able to work with whomever we needed to work with on that.
If I may, he was really referring to the conduit that's under the ground and trees planted above that conduit.
I mean, they're planted, our conduit would be about 24 inches in the ground. So, and keeping in mind that there's still a pole line that goes between where the conduit will be. So planting a tree just above it may hinder the power and communication lines that would be above it. Am I making sense?
Yes, although you're also underscoring that there's already, where this conduit is proposed to be put, there is a above-ground set of poles and lines.
Yep.
Which it sounds like could in fact be used instead of this underground permit request, although it might be more expensive for your company to do that, it would avoid some of these petitions perhaps. Go ahead.
That is true. And as I highlighted, the reason that we're asking for these short underground spaces is to avoid avoid the double polling and the pole replacement that it would trigger to do the make ready on these poles.
And if I may, one other question. This conduit would be installed laterally underneath the ground within the right-of-way, within the city's public way right-of-ways, is that correct?
Correct.
So would there ever be a situation where the asphalt of a street or a sidewalk adjacent to that would actually be disturbed above the ground?
I mean, I can tell you that these ones do not. I don't know what the other future petitions might look like. There could be an opportunity for it to be going underneath a sidewalk, but again, we would restore that to to better than this, or the same or better than what it was.
Okay, and I think maybe one of your handouts perhaps address this, but what's the time involved in making one of these installations?
Usually it takes just a couple of days for us. Once we're allowed to do the work, it only takes a couple of days.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set, thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the council on this one at this time? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Spang.
You mentioned how more extensive underground wouldn't be in the first phase, it would be a later phase. How many phases do you anticipate in Beverly?
In Beverly, because we're doing most of the work in phase one, probably no more than 3 phases. And our plan is to start, and this is tentative because it all depends on the pole owners, on when we get those licenses, is to start in Q3 of this year.
Okay. And then how long do you expect all those phases to take?
That's a good question. We break it up in work orders, so sort of depending on when we get a grouping of licenses so that we can attach to poles. Usually it takes about a year total once we get the proper licensing and everything.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor. Were there any members of the public, there's no one signed up on the sign-up sheet. Was there anybody here this evening who hoped to speak in this public hearing tonight? And I will mention again that I'm going to propose that we recess this to an upcoming meeting so we can continue to get more information. We can also continue this conversation. Okay. Solicitor Olmixon, was there anything that you wanted to add at this point for this one?
I don't think I have anything to add at this point. I guess I'd be interested to hear if there were more questions coming for each individual petition, and then see if there's a couple of global questions that maybe could be presented to hopefully be answered later.
Thank you.
Thanks.
In that case, councilors, I would entertain a motion to recess this public hearing to our March 2nd meeting at 7:30 p.m. All those in favor? That carries 9-0, so we will recess this public hearing and pick that up on our first regular meeting in March at 7:30 p.m. We do have just a few moments, actually not many at all, before our next posted public hearing at 8:10. So I would entertain a motion just to take a 2-minute recess. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We'll be back. our 8:10 posted public hearing. This is on order number 50, another petition from Go Net Speed. Ms. Kent.
Order number 50, City of Beverly, order that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, February 2nd, 2026 at 8:10 PM at 191 Cabot Street, third floor, council chambers, relative to Go Net Speed petition to install underground facilities on Friend Street. This was in the newspaper on January 23rd.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. Ms. Mahoney, am I remembering your name correctly? Yes, you did. Thank you. If you would like to join us at the podium again, I appreciate your being with us. And councilors, this is the petition, as you just heard Ms. Kent read, this is the petition for underground facilities on Friend Street. Actually, I'm sorry, Ms. Mahoney, anything specific that you want to add about this particular petition, or are they similar in terms of what you've already explained to us?
Yeah, all three of the petitions are very similar in nature.
Okay, thank you. In that case, councilors, Councilor Rotundo.
Madam President, can we hold this in public hearing, recess it to the March 2nd date as well?
I think that would make sense, given that we're likely to have some of the same questions. If it would be okay with you, Councilor, if there are any specific questions on this one, I think for Solicitor Olmixon to hear them as well may be helpful. Councilor Houseman and then Councilor Spang.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I just want to, I guess, make an observation. I'm not sure yet exactly what my question is, but your company, Go Net Speed, would be in competition with other companies who are on the poles, correct? For example, Verizon, Comcast, and so forth.
Correct.
What's the legal right for any company such as your own to go on a pole that's owned by someone who obviously is a competitor? Can you just explain the legal connections and requirements you have to go through in order to co-locate on a pole?
Sure. We're a telecommunications provider. We report to the FCC. We're considered a CLEC in this particular area. We are an ILEC in other areas as well, which means that we are the incumbent in that area. In a CLEC basically means that we are able to build our own network sort of where we choose to build it. But we are regulated by the FCC.
So do you have Madam President, through you, so do you have an absolute legal right to co-locate on these poles?
Yes.
You do. And if the pole is owned by another company and you want to co-locate on it, you have to pay something to that owner of that pole in order to do that?
We do, yes. We have to pay rent to the pole owners.
It'd be an ongoing rent or just a one-time?
Usually it's a minimal fee every year.
Okay. And do you have to go through a application process with the pole owner, just like you would with the city, or with the city, to make that co-location?
We do.
You do. And on these prospective poles, have you gone through that process, or is this your first stop with the city, that is?
We have applied to all of the poles in Beverly. We have not received word back yet on what that looks like from them in terms of what needs to be made ready on that pole in order to attach to it. But we have put applications for every pole.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Stein.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, this petition, it looks like there is existing utility in the right-of-way. And so I was curious, it sounds like what you're doing is digging from each side or boring from each side and meeting in the middle?
Yeah, so we're basically boring, or kind of going around the pole that would need to be replaced in order to avoid that pole replacement. So yes.
Okay, and how does it attach when you come in from both sides like that?
Sure, so we are actually attaching to a pole that we're gonna get a license to attach to. We would drop it down to the underground conduit and then reattach to another pole in the line.
So you pull it from one side and then pull it out the other
Yeah.
side? Okay. just trying to understand that a little bit
Yep,
better.
no, that's fine.
That's it for now.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Rotundo and then Counselor Crowley.
Mine's more of a statement, and I'll speak for myself, is we're not against, more files coming into the city, but as well as we do have that working relationship with Verizon, who is also working its way through the city, at least from my understanding, down by the Hall Whitaker. So I just want to make that abundantly clear. We're not against it, but there's a lot of processes that it seems as if the company's not well aware of. And I think that's where there's some skepticism, at least for me, is that, from some of the questions coming from my colleague, Councilor Hausman, in regards to locations and costs, and we understand, it's a business and you want to do it, but we also want to make sure that we're protecting, the city right-of-ways and stuff like that. So I just want to make it clear that we're not against files coming into the city, because that's better for the consumer, but as well as there's just a lot of questions still being and will be asked.
Yeah, and we're happy to answer any questions that come up. We just expect to get fair and equitable treatment, just like any other internet service provider would coming into the city.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Crowley.
The question I have is the three that we're proposing or you're asking for right now, do you have the licensing between the poles?
Currently, we don't have the license yet. We do have the application in for the licensing.
So we don't even know yet if we can go between those poles?
We will, eventually, we will. We've received the make-ready. We would pay that make-ready for it to be done on the pole, and then they would issue a license after the make-ready is complete.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Crowley. Are there any other questions from the council that are specific to this petition? Oh. Any that are specific to the Friend Street petition at this time? Counselor Spang, let's take your less specific to Friend Street question, if you'd like.
Yes, thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Is there a way that we could understand the scope of Phase 1 or the scope of the phases at some point as a council? I think that would just
Absolutely.
help because many residents in my wards want to make sure that they're not left behind.
For sure.
So it would just help to have an idea of what the scope is.
Yeah, I think, and we have a general map of what it looks like. It's just not broken out into sort of the segments that we would be working in. But we do have a general map that we can provide.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Are there any members of the public here who wish to speak in this public hearing this evening? I'm going to entertain a motion to recess it, to keep it open. But if anyone came tonight hoping to speak, I don't want to miss you. Okay. So with that then, Councilors, I would entertain a motion to recess this public hearing to March 2nd, our March 2nd meeting at 7:40 p.m. So moved. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, that carries 9-0, so we will recess this hearing and pick it up then. Ms. Mahoney, I know we have one more with you, if you don't mind staying with us.
I don't.
It's posted for 8:30, and we are not quite there. And we could, at this point, I would entertain a motion to take a brief break for some subcommittee work. We can get started, and then we'll return at 8:30, subcommittee chair, so we can pick up the next hearing.
So moved.
All those in favor? That carries 9-0. Let's have legal affairs stay here in chambers, finance and property in the committee room, please, and public services in the hall. And chairs, if you would return at 8:30 so we can pick up that hearing, and then we'll go back to subcommittee work as well. Thank you.
Board of Appeals, any questions? Is he with us today? I apologize. Just got the signal, I didn't have my microphone on. Any questions?
Make a motion to approve Order 28.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Order number 40, proposal to create a temporary special committee to explore options. Can we hold that for the, just to get a little more further information? And then, proposal number 45, proposed amendments, chapter 117.6, dog kennel licensing. Mr. Dill, can you come up for that one, please? Yes. Thank you. And as well as ACO Lipinski, could you as well come up? Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jesse Dole, Assistant City Solicitor, and as to Order 45. So this is, admittedly, we're a little behind the ball on this, but there was Chapter 213 of the Acts of 2024, which was titled An Act to Increase Kennel Safety, but was just basically known as Ollie's Law, which was in response to some rather alarming deaths of dogs while in kennels, daycares, overnight boarding. That places certain requirements on municipalities in addition to actually creating a state licensing program. So that's what this amendment would do. It's a rather straightforward change to the ordinances. It does require, it just basically defines the type of kennels that would fall under the law, explicitly states an annual inspection requirement performed by the animal control officer, and an explicit revocation language. So that it's pretty, I would suggest, rather straightforward. We did have a kennel licensing process in the ordinances. This would just bring it into compliance with the state requirements. And it's really a mirror of what has been done in other communities.
Thank you. Any questions from either one of my committee members?
No, none
for me.
Then
Make
can
a
I
motion to
entertain a motion to accept this ordinance amendment?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Doe. Don't go too far, because I know we have you coming up again. Home rule petition regarding the police chief's mandatory age. Chief LaLasha, would you come up, please? Mr. Doe, would you quickly?
Yes, and I'm not, I think you may have been on the council, possibly,
I was.
Councilor Rotundo, when we did this for the retired Fire Chief Paul Cotter. Under state law, Chief LaLasher would be, reach a mandatory retirement age in May of 27. What this home rule petition would do would the State House would allow us to continue to employ Chief LaLasher past that age. Right now, if you may remember, we did extend his contract to his mandatory retirement age. We can deal with that, if and when we have to. Just because the process of getting a home rule petition through both chambers of the State House and to the governor's desk can be an extremely time-consuming process. We'll obviously work with Representative Bowen and Senator Lovely to marshal that through, but so that we're not with our backs against the wall in the spring of 27, we thought it'd be appropriate to bring it now. So, and to put it in context, I know when we did it for Chief Cotter to allow him to stay past age 65, and he was under contract through 24, he ended up retiring in 2019. So I can't tell you what, I don't have a crystal ball what's going to happen with Chief LaLasher, but this would allow him to stay past 65. And I was able to speak with the mayor, and the mayor said he was very, very pleased that the chief approached him and expressed the desire to stay past 65. And he has greatly appreciated the work that the chief has done here since 2013. So he would, Mayor asked me to express to you his full support on this home rule petition.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. I did also speak with the mayor, and he did convey that message. Councilors, questions, comments?
I'm good with it. I think the chief does a great job. So happy to support it.
I'll second that.
Can I have a motion now?
I would make a motion to approve order, 56?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Now we'll start the process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Order number 57.
You weren't joking, Counselor.
I told you, don't go
Told
too
you so.
far. Mr. Dole, on these next several, because they're all together.
Yes.
Can we take these as a whole? Do I have, but vote on them separately?
Yes, that's why I asked that Clerk Kent
57,
number the
57, A, B,
the four
C,
votes would be A, B, C, and D.
D, yep, okay, so
Because they
let's
are-
take these up. We do have Mr. Alexander here, which I believe is representing the client with this. I did have a conversation with Mr. Alexander. I'm comfortable with it. I don't know if you gentlemen had an opportunity to look at it. Mr. Dill, could you kind of give a,
I'm here to answer any questions council may have, subcommittee may have, rather.
do you guys have any questions for?
No,
any-
I don't think
are you-
it's pretty straightforward.
For me, for office, just to give you an idea, it's not too far from the restaurant, so it's across the street.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
same here, no.
So then, can I make a motion to accept Order 57?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Order number 57A.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passed 3-0. Order number 57B.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Order number 57C.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Order number 57D.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you very much. Give me a second here, 58, legal affairs. Oh, so, Mr. Alexander, I believe, oh, you got one more thing on the agenda. So, legal affair, we got the proposed order number 58, Chapter 117, animals. This one is to do with public nuisance for domesticated cats. This one I will as well, Mr. Dole and Animal Control Officer Lipinski in this.
Yes, Counselor, it's actually, it's amendments to a few of the articles. Yes, we're creating a feeding of wild animals and/or wildlife, a prohibition on feeding wild animals and wildlife, with a carve-out for feeding songbirds and backyard birds on private property, and some changes to the enforcement section. And then there's the second, which would be an amendment rather than rather than an addition of new language, it'd be an amendment of existing language to add a prohibition on nuisance cats. And I can speak a little bit more to that. I don't know if anyone receives Paul Layton's Beverly beat, but
Excuse me 1 sec, I just want to call committee of the whole. Okay, sorry, Mr. Dole.
Yes, I was able to read the most recent, as of this evening, Beverly Beat by former Salem News writer Paul Layton, which is a very well investigated, thoroughly researched, and I think thoughtful piece on what triggered this amendment to the ordinance is to prohibit nuisance cats. I will say I did not invent this myself, as there's no plagiarism in law. This is effectively what Manchester by the Sea has as a bylaw, which I would remind any town bylaws do get vetted by the Attorney General's Municipal Law Unit. So I have a certain level of confidence in the legality of that. But obviously I can answer questions about anything about the feeding of wildlife, the feeding of songbirds, and the addition of the nuisance cat.
Any questions from my colleagues?
None here.
Then I propose to accept the order number 58.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries 3-0, and I am going to call the committee of the whole to recess.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? And I'm going to call the committee of legal affairs to recess.
So moved.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Second.
3-0, 8:30. Madam President, the chair is yours.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, subcommittees, for your work. I know subcommittees, a few of the subcommittees have more work to finish tonight, so we'll go back into subcommittee. But for now, we are back so that we can open our posted public hearing, posted for 8:30, on order number 51. This is the third of the GoNet Speed petitions. This is the petition for East Street. Ms. Kent.
Order number 51, City of Beverly, order that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, February 2nd, 2026 at 8:30 PM at 191 Cabot Street, 3rd floor, Council Chambers, relative to GoNet Speed petition to install underground facilities on East Street. And this was in the newspaper on January 23rd.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. Ms. Mahoney, if you'd like to join us at the podium again. I know that you mentioned that all the petitions are very similar, so we'll go right to if there are questions from the council on this petition for East Street. Councilor Houseman, this is your ward. You had mentioned that you might have something specific. I didn't know if you wanted to have an opportunity.
Yes, there's also constituents of mine from Ward 4 who also have signed up to speak regarding this matter.
All right, thank you. So we will make sure to take those public comments this evening.
I just want to follow up, if I may, on a couple of points that came up in the last public hearing. And that is that the process you have to go through, the steps you have to go through in order to be able to proceed. You've applied, started the process with the owners of the poles to get permission, but you haven't gotten them yet. So we are the first stop on your process of installing your system. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I guess I'm not clear as to why the council, why the city should be the first stop in this process. I mean, there is a potential of a sort of a bootleg argument that, well, we've already gotten in between we've already gotten underground, so pole owner, you know, really need to help us with the next step. Frankly, at least in my ward, I have constituents who have endured considerable amount, well, 3 years worth of construction on their road for National Grid's installation of their 15 kV cable, followed this past year by installation by the city of a new water line. And frankly, they have had it up to here with construction in their neighborhood and on their streets. Madam President, I'd like to submit for the record 2 emails I received from folks in this neighborhood affected by the specific proposal who object to the installation of this, to the approval of this order, if I may provide these to the city clerk. Yeah, it's just not clear to me why the first step should be, at least in regard to this particular application on East Street, why the city and my constituents should be asked to deal with the disruption of this when you have yet to actually received replies from the pole owners on a process that you said may take up to a year before you could actually do the installation. So I would, just speaking for my constituents, I believe they would rather this particular out of the 3 requests not be approved and delayed and reconsidered at a point where the other steps in your process have continued. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. I would say that actually, one follow-up comment, comments to both my colleagues to my left about, you know, it's good for consumers to have competition and to have choice. And so I think that from that perspective, it's good to have you in the city. And in terms of, access throughout the city, I think that's also a good thing. But in this particular case, in this particular location, I know my constituents, I've heard from many of them, were just flat out opposed and upset by the proposal. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Spang.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, it looks on the petition like the conduit would be installed on both East Street and Lothrop Street. I just wanted to clarify, is that?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And are you aware that Lothrop Street was just repaved?
I personally am not aware. I'm sure that our engineers are aware. We wouldn't be going in the street itself, though. And I do just want to say, we haven't received licenses from the pole owners, but we have received invoices to make those poles ready to get licenses. They can't refuse us the license if we agree to their make-ready. So our goal in coming here to get these is, one, to communicate with you who we are and what we're doing in the city of Beverly, and sort of introduce ourselves and make it known that we're coming to town. And I fully understand the questions and curious as to what we're doing out there. So just to make that known.
Are you all set?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. What I'd like to do is, we do have two folks who are signed up to speak in this public hearing. As we've done with the other two, I'd like us to keep this hearing open and continue it in March, but I would like to make sure that folks who came tonight to speak get to do that. So let's go to public comment on this one, beginning with Ann Streetman. And Ann, if you would begin with your name and address for the record, and then Vice President St. Clair, would you mind keeping time for us for 3 minutes? And if you hear the timer go off, if you would just draw your remarks to a close at that point.
Sounds great. I promise not to go for 3 minutes.
You're welcome to go for 3 if you would like. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Ann Streetman, 186 Lothrop Street. And so we are a direct abutter on the corner of East and Lothrop. I really appreciate all of your thoughtful questions and also the additional information. It's great to just learn more about these applications and what it all means. I just wanted to reiterate a couple things that have already been said. First, concern about disturbing freshly paved Lothrop Street and kind of the continued road work that has been in that area. Also, that a lot of street trees were removed as part of the work that's been ongoing on Lothrop Street, and so the idea that none of those street trees could come back anywhere where this conduit exists is a concern. And then just I have concerns about any impacts or disturbance to our front yard, just knowing that, there's no sidewalk here, and so where that delineation of right-of-way, public space, and our yard, and the impact of this work to our driveway and walkway and things like that, I think just good communication would be really valued and appreciated. So that's all. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. And the second person signed up to speak in this public hearing is David Mahood. Mr. Mahood, if you also would like to go to the podium, begin with your name and address for the record, and then you also please take up to 3 minutes if you'd like to share your thoughts.
David Mahood, 191 Lothrop Street. Probably a familiar face. The irony, of course, is today is Groundhog Day. I've probably been up here 6 times talking about construction on our street. So, and we've endured beyond what we should have to endure as abutters. We thought National Grid coming through in their 2.5-year process was long, and it was. But the city water was delayed, National Grid was delayed by a year, and then to find out that we're possibly going to be enduring another project was really, it is Groundhog Day. I didn't understand really what it meant with pole owners granting rights, but I got clarification today. It would be nice to know that we could have a telecom company that's based in Massachusetts versus, I believe, Alabama, if I'm correct with that. I would hope that it sounded like a really simple project, 2 to 4 days or something to that extent, and a very short cable. So I wouldn't think the environmental impact would be great. But as we asked National Grid and anybody else who digs in our street, in our city, to minimize your environmental footprint, do whatever you can to offset your emissions, reduce any idling on the street, and just, for God's sakes, be good environmental stewards, please. And I think based on that, I'm just going to say, you know, we will put up with what we have to put up. It's been a long, long time, but if we can get through this and we have competition, I'm all for that. But I know that I have a lot of friends in my neighborhood who can't be here tonight, that I'm speaking for them, and they are not happy. So, and that, I'm just expressing that on their behalf too. But thank you for letting me speak, and thank you all counselors for all your work.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohed. Thanks for being here. Well, thanks for being back here with us. I know that you've been here before talking about different projects, and we certainly know Lothrop Street is one of the streets that has endured quite a lot. So thank you for that as well. Councilor Houseman?
May I ask that,
Oh, would you be willing to unmute your microphone?
sorry, yeah. May I ask that Solicitor Oldnixon have an opportunity to perhaps comment to the council based upon what we've heard this evening?
Yes.
Thank you.
Solicitor, if you would, and then I will entertain a motion to recess this one. That will give us the opportunity to get more information about all three of these public hearings that we've heard. Solicitor, thank you.
Thank you. So I think a lot of the questions that I had were also asked this evening. The primary one, and I'm not sure there was a clear answer to this, was kind of, you know, why were these three areas chosen? And with respect to the make ready and what the, if there are licenses on any poles, if the poles on either end of these three trench areas are ones that the licenses have, or maybe they haven't been signed yet, but there's been an opportunity. I'm not entirely clear on that. And it feels like those were some of the questions that the council was also asking. As you said, President Flowers, I think it would make sense to recess these public hearings to allow some of these questions to be asked of GoNet Speed, see if they can come back with some more information. There was a mention of the phases, and perhaps there could be some clear identification of the phases. And then perhaps some communication with our administration through the engineering department or DPS to see what else, because I do think there is some question about the trees and what could be planted there going forward, and if there's any disturbance of trees that are currently there. I'm not clear from the plans, mostly because I can't see that well on the small plans. I was trying to, you know, make it bigger on the screen, but just if there's any more information that could be available, detailed information about what the disturbance would be.
Thank you, Solicitor.
I don't know if anyone has any specific questions for me at this time.
Are there any specific questions for Solicitor Oldmixon at this time before I take a motion to recess this hearing?
Yeah, just one question, if I may. Solicitor, is there any particular reason why, based upon what you've heard this evening or otherwise know, why this petitioner would need to start with these petitions with the city as part of their process, as opposed to getting their permission, taking care of the other pieces of right before they come to us?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Solicitor. Councilor Rotundo.
Ms. Oldmixon, just for a matter of process and to be communicated well, what would be the best method for us to get communication to GoNet Speed in regards to more comprehensive plans? Would it be better to go through the city clerk, or should we go through your office for that?
I think it would be easier to go through the city clerk like you normally would with National Grid.
Right.
Certainly if Ms. Kent needs help, or if GoNet Speed has asked for our office's involvement, we can get involved.
Okay.
But to start with, it would probably make sense for Ms. Kent to compile all the questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you, Solicitor. So councilors, I would suggest that we, specific questions that were raised this evening that councilors have, if you could send those to Ms. Kent, that will allow her to send on our behalf a compiled list of questions to GoNet Speed, and then the answers can be disseminated. We can discuss those further in the public hearings back here in chambers in March. Is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor.
Is that the same process for the questions we had for the Engineering and Public Services Department? Should we send those questions to Ms. Kent too?
Concerning these public hearings?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councilors, is there a motion to recess this public hearing? This is for order number 51 to our March 2nd meeting for 7:50 PM. All those in favor? Thank you very much. That's 9-0, so we will pick this back up at our March 2nd meeting. Ms. Mahoney, thank you for being here with us. We'll look forward to being able to receive some of that information back and continuing this conversation at our March 2nd meeting. Thank you. Thank you. We do have one final public hearing posted this evening. Thank you to our public speakers as well. Thanks for being here. We do have one final public hearing posted this evening. This is our public hearing posted for 8:45, which we will open now. This is on order number 27. Ms. Kent.
Order number 27, the City of Beverly ordered that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, February 2nd, 2026, at 8:45 PM at 191 Cabot Street, 3rd floor, Council Chambers, relative to a request approval to transfer $68,750 from the Harbor Management Authority Fund, along with a transfer of $68,750 from the Waterways Improvement Fund. The combined transfer funds of $137,500 will represent the required 20% match for the $550,000 Seaport Economic Grant. And this was in the newspaper on January 23rd.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. Our City Finance Director, Mr. Brian Ailes, is here with us at the podium this evening. Thank you, Mr. Ailes. If you'd like to begin with anything that you want to say about order number 27.
Sure. Thank you, Madam President. As City Clerk Mrs. Kent just mentioned in the order, this is essentially just a transfer from some existing funds to cover the match component of a Seaport grant. The Seaport grant, which was introduced last week, was read and has to do with the ongoing project of the reconstruction of the commercial fishing and Hoist Pier down by Glover Wharf. So this is the final component where we received a grant for $550,000, and it requires a 20% match. So we are seeking to fund that match through two places, a 50-50 split. The first being the Waterway Improvement Fund, which is a fund that receives 50% of the motorboat excise receipts every year, and so it's an appropriate use of that source of revenue. That currently has roughly $100,000 balance in it, so we would transfer, in this case, if approved, we would transfer $68,750 from that fund. And then the second component is from the Harbor Management Authority Fund. That fund itself, as you all know, does a number of things with the waterfront. The majority of their revenue comes from the lease or rentals of the commercial and recreational floats down by Glover Wharf. And so it's an appropriate use of those funds as well. That fund currently has about $750,000 available in it. So we would be seeking a similar amount of $68,750 from that fund as well to comprise the total 20% match that's needed to complete this project.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ailes. Councilors, are there questions on this one? Councilor Spang.
Thank you, Madam President. It's actually not a question, but an urging for the council to approve these requests. One of the asks from the commercial fishing fleet has been to upgrade the commercial hoist and the hoist pier. So just wanted to amplify that and let the council know that it's been top of the list for a while.
Thank you very much, Councilor Spang. That's really helpful to hear. Councilor Houseman.
Likewise with Councilor Spang, when I first was on the council a few years ago, this was a very high, if not the top priority. This project has been more than a decade in the works. It is a high priority for the commercial fishing fleet that we have in Beverly, as well as for the Harbor Management Authority. The funds are certainly there. This is what the funds are for. So I would concur and with Councilor Spang and encourage the council to approve this request.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there other questions or comments from members of the council? Okay. Were there any members of the public who wish to speak on this public hearing? Mr. Perry, you're here with us this evening. I'd love to invite you to the podium. Is there anything that you would want to add or share about this?
Not a lot. But good evening, Madam President, members of council. Yeah, I wrote to you last week. Simply put, as Mr. Ailes indicated, there's sufficient funds there. It's appropriate in nature. And I've always been an advocate, if we can get matching grants, all the more grants we get into the city to help our finances, I think it's a great idea. Madam President, members of the council, I recommend adoption of the mayor's proposal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perry. Any other questions or comments from the council, either for Mr. Ailes or Mr. Perry at this time? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I will close this public hearing and we'll refer that back to the Committee on Finance and Property for further action this evening. Thank you, Mr. Ailes. I know that Finance and Property and Legal Affairs have some, a bit more subcommittee work to take care of. Public Services, do you need to, okay. So Public Services is set for the evening. I would entertain a motion to take a brief break to wrap up that subcommittee work for those two committees. All those in favor? Carries 9-0. So we'll have Legal Affairs resume back up here on BevCam in the council chambers, and we'll have Finance and Property resume in the committee room, please.
Order Legal Affairs. Mr. Dole and Mr. Alexander, you're up again. These are for Order 63, which is a renewal application of Class 2 motor vehicle, elite collision-centered DBA all wheels. Just in case, is there any questions? These are pretty much, we've had these licenses come in front of us, but this one's a little later than usual, but is there any questions? It's been in existence for a while. All right, then I take a motion to accept Order 63, renewal of the application for Class 2 motor vehicle license for Elite Collision Center, DBA all wheels. All in favor? Carries 3-0. And then as well as Order 64, which is a Class 3 motor vehicle license for Elite Collision Center, DBA. Same location. Any questions? Paperwork's all in front of you. You guys had an opportunity to look at it. Then I ask for a motion to accept Order 64, renewal application for Class 3 motor vehicle license for Elite Collision, DBA all wheels. All those in favor? Motion carries 3-0. That is all we have. I will call Committee of the Whole to recess.
So moved.
All those in favor? I call Legal Affairs for recess.
So moved.
All those in favor? 3-0. We're done.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to our subcommittees for finishing up that work, and we will come back together as a full council so that we can finish up. Let's go to reports from committees. Ms. Kent, please.
Order number 27, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom referred the matter regarding a $550,000 Seaport Economic Council grant for commercial Hoist Pier Reconstruction, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Are there questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and the adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. Aye. That carries 9-0.
Order number 53, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom referred the matter regarding a transfer request from the reserve for unforeseen account of $160,000 to be placed into the dispatch department to support costs related to operations, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Set a public hearing on February 17th at 7:40 p.m.
Councilors, I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended by the subcommittee for February 17th at 7:40 p.m. All those in favor? That carries 9-0.
Order number 54, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom referred the matter regarding a transfer request for the Recreation Enterprise Fund balance of $150,000 to support costs related to park projects and improvements throughout the city, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Set the public hearing for February 17th at 7:55 p.m.
I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended by the subcommittee for February 17th at 7:55 p.m. All those in favor? Aye. That carries 9-0 as well. And just a note, that is our next regular meeting. It is also a Tuesday due to a Monday holiday. So for anyone following along, hoping to come to any of these hearings, that is a Tuesday evening meeting.
Order 55, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom referred the matter regarding a donation of $2,000 from the Friends of Beverly Public Library to benefit the Beverly Public Library, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Are there questions or comments on this one? The question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 9-0 with our thanks to the Friends of the Beverly Public Library for that gift.
Order number 62, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom referred the matter regarding reappointment and salary increase of City Council Budget Analyst Gerard Perry, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Are there questions or comments on this one? Councilor Houseman, did I see your hand? I'm sorry. Yes, Councilor Houseman.
Yeah, I just want to relate that Mr. Perry is eminently qualified for this position, as has been witnessed by the council over his tenure here. In my opinion, we've been very, very lucky to have someone who was the head of DOR, Department of Revenue's Division of Local Services, all these years. In his position, he was responsible for overseeing finances for all 351 municipalities here in Beverly, in Massachusetts. The financial policies and objectives document, which we have, which has sort of become sort of a blueprint or for the city in which it manages its fiscal affairs, whether building the budget, setting aside reserves, or so forth, is a product of Mr. Perry's work early on in his tenure. I think that the council, in the absence of someone like Mr. Perry, and certainly in this position, would have no counterpart to information provided by the administration. So for those reasons and many others, I encourage the council to approve his reappointment.
Thank you, Councilor Houseman. Councilor Feldman.
Yes, thank you. I echo some of Councilor Houseman's same remarks and reasons why I support this. But also, I just, for the public and anyone watching and following along at home, I think it's hard to understand possibly what Mr. Perry's role is to us as counselors. And just to be clear, we do debate things offline and have really robust, heated discussions regarding some of the recommendations. And also, he has made very clear, I'm sure all of us as counselors have heard him say many times that that's policy. He reminds us that we set the policies. Some of the decisions that he brings us the recommendations based on numbers and policy and perspective on the different options that we have in front of us. But when it comes to setting policy, we are frequently reminded that that's our job to decide which path we want to choose when it comes to using the information that he's presented us with. And I really appreciate that because I don't always agree. But on the whole, I really appreciate his expertise. He does a great job. And especially with the current state of our budget and where we're going, I kind of really think we need our A-team on with a lot of experience, and I think we have the right people in place with this appointment. So those are my feelings on this and why I support it. Thanks.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Milady.
I feel like a real heel because it's your birthday, Mr. Perry. I'm going to borrow a metaphor that Councilor Houseman used from last week's meeting regarding the vote to approve the new City Hall project. Just as if you do not do routine car maintenance on your vehicle can lead to greater costs down the road. I feel that consistently advocating placing money into fiscal reserves at a percentage higher than the state average has come to a great cost for our residents. Our bond rating, yes, indeed, has improved, but it's become at the expense of services that we should be providing for our citizens. Staffing cuts at our middle school, the largest in the state, have been made in order to meet the idea of best practice for our budgeting. Programming and staffing at our senior center have been stretched thin, again, in order to meet the idea of best practice for our budgeting. We're not properly serving the most vulnerable people in our community, in my opinion, under this concept. When I asked Mr. Perry, how can the city meet the mayor's promise to fund our schools to match the state average? Mr. Perry, you told me there was no way in hell that could happen. And I feel as though that, for me, crosses the line between policy advice. So, at the risk of sounding like a complete ass, I fully applaud your years of service to our city and what you've done for the state as well. But in my conscience, I cannot face my friends, my neighbors, and also the people who voted for me and say that I voted in favor of your reappointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Milady. Are there other questions or comments, discussion from the council on this? Okay. As a clarifying point, this is from the financial perspective for folks who are following particularly. I wanted to just remind us that this position for the budget analyst is also unique compared to many other, the way we think about other salaried positions, in that the salary is set by charter at half the salary of the city finance director, whoever that may be at the time. And so if we make a reappointment and we increase the hourly rate, which is within the purview of the council, we already know that we've set the top line. And I just wanted to mention that for folks who may be following along, that we've had conversations about that we know we're going to be facing some financial challenges. And so I think it could raise the question of how then will we manage all of our salaries? And this one is a bit unique, and I just wanted to put that out there as we're having this conversation as well. Are there any other comments or questions? Okay. Councilor Houseman, I can't tell if you're about to raise your hand. You look deep in thought. And okay.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't want to get involved in a policy debate because that's not really the matter that's in front of us. I mean, I disagree with my colleague on the policy questions, and I guess would say that, as Councilor Feldman said, you know, Mr. Perry has always been very clear that the policy makers are the council. He only provides data and makes recommendations. So I guess I respectfully disagree with the reasoning of my colleague, but again, it's really kind of a policy discussion, not so much a matter of Mr. Perry's position. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Councilor Husband. Any other comments? Okay. So on the recommendation from the subcommittee, question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. All those opposed? Thank you. That carries 8-1. And so, Mr. Perry, thank you. You'll be reappointed to the position. Thank you for your work. You also are welcome to stay with us, or you could go and enjoy the rest of your work. Thank you, Ms. Kent.
Order number 65, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding National Grid's petition 311-24344 to install underground facilities on Broadway, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend set a public hearing for February 17th at 8:05 p.m.
I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended by the subcommittee for February 17th at 8:05 p.m. All those in favor? Aye. That carries 9-0. Thank you.
Order number 31, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding reappointment for Arthur Athanas, 77 Hale Street, to serve on the Beverly Golf and Tennis Commission, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this reappointment.
Are there questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 9-0. Thanks to Mr. Athanas for his willingness to continue in that appointment.
Order number 30, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding a reappointment for Kevin Asililo. I told him I was going to mess up his name. 4 Sherwood Lane, to serve on the Beverly Golf and Tennis Commission, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this reappointment.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 9-0, and thank you as well to Mr. Asililo.
Thank you. Order number 29, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding a reappointment for Chad Crandell, 59 Lothrop Street, to serve on the Beverly Golf and Tennis Commission, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this reappointment.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 9-0, with our thanks as well for the willingness to continue serving.
Order number 28, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a reappointment for Corey Bernella, 30 Bow Street, to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this reappointment.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 9-0, with our thanks again.
Order number 63, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a renewal application for a Class 2 motor vehicle license for Elite Collision Center, DBA All Wheels, 97 Park Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted.
Are there questions or comments on this one? The question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. Aye. That carries 9-0.
Order number 64, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom referred the matter regarding a renewal application for a Class 3 motor vehicle license for Elite Collision Center, DBA All Wheels, 97 Park Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Carries 9-0.
Order number 56, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom referred the matter regarding a home rule petition regarding police chief mandatory retirement age, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Are there questions or comments on this one? The question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. Aye. That carries 9-0.
Order number 57, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a grant of permanent easements at 80 and 84 Cabot Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments? Question, Mr. Dole. Mr. Dole, did you have something to add to this one?
Good evening, Jesse Dole, Assistant City Solicitor. Each of the lettered orders need to have each of them needs an individual vote. So there'd have to be a vote on, pardon me, 57A, 57B, 57C, 57D. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Kent, which one was that?
That was 57.
That was 57?
Yeah,
Okay.
then we're going to
And then we'll go to the
line.
individual ones. Okay, thank you, Assistant Solicitor. Are there questions or comments on that one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Carries 9-0.
Order 57A, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding 80 Cabot Street available for disposition, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Are there questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order on 57A. Oh, sorry. All those in favor? I was like, wait, what? Thank you. Yes, I realized when Councilor Spang's face just looked like you need to say something else. That carries 9-0 on 57A.
Order 57B, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a grant of permanent easements at 80 Cabot Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Are there questions or comments on this one? The question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. This is 57B. All those in favor, aye. Carries 9-0. Thank you.
Order 57C, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom for the matter regarding 84 Cabot Street available for disposition, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Are there questions or comments on this one? The question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order for 57C. All those in favor, aye. That carries 9-0.
Order 57D, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a grant of permanent easements at 84 Cabot Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve these requests.
Questions or comments on this one? This is 57D. Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 9-0. Thank you.
Order number 45, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 174G, commercial boarding or training kennels shall report to the city clerk any injuries to animals or people that occur on their premises, which shall be investigated by the animal control officer.
So this is
For the first vote, sorry.
Yes, thank you. This is a proposed ordinance amendment, and so it is available for a first vote this evening, first reading, first vote. It will be available for final passage at our next regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve this proposed amendment? Second. Is there any further discussion or questions at this time? Assistant Solicitor Dole, was there anything else? I know you spoke to the subcommittee. Anything that you wanted to add for the benefit of the?
I can answer any questions that any member of council has.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Assistant Solicitor Dole at this time? Okay. So there's a motion and a second. This is for the first vote. All those in favor, aye. Thank you very much. That's 9-0. And so as I said, this will be available. There'll be a second reading and a second vote for final passage at our next regular meeting.
Order number 58, a proposed amendment on Section 117-22 enforcement. The Department of Animal Control shall enforce the provisions of this chapter. B, violations of this chapter shall be enforceable under the non-criminal disposition procedures established by Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 21D. The non-criminal disposition penalties for any person violating this article should be a written warning for the first violation, $50 for the second violations, $100 for the third violation, and $300 for each subsequent violation. Each day of violation shall constitute a separate offense. And this is the first vote for this.
Mr. Dole.
I apologize, that would be part and parcel of the amendment to Chapter 117 by adding Article 5. That's just a continuation of 20, 21, and 22. It's all part of that first order that you read.
So read the second one that you, about
The
the cats?
second one is the 117-11.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Dole. Thank you, Ms. Kent.
Proposed amendment for Chapter 117-11, disposal of impounded cats is appended as follows by deleting the stricken text and adding the text, Section 117-11, disposal of impounded cats, nuisance cats. A, cats impounded and unclaimed by the owner or keeper after a 2-day period may be disposed of in accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 155A. B, no owner or keeper of a domesticated cat shall permit such animal to become a public nuisance or danger, penalty of $50. And this is the first vote for Order 58.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. Is there a motion to approve for a first vote? Is there any conversation, discussion, or questions for Assistant Solicitor Dole? Okay. So there's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. That Carries 9-0. That is for a first vote. We'll have a second reading and final passage at our next meeting. Available for final passage, I should say.
Correct. Yep, after being published in the newspaper.
Yes. Thank you. Ms. Kent reminds us that both of those, what was just read, will be published in the paper as well for members of the public. All right, thank you very much. That is the end of our reports from our subcommittees. Are there any announcements or reminders? Councillor Spang.
Yes, I have one announcement. The Public Services Committee will hold a special meeting or just a standalone committee meeting next Monday night at 7:30. Location to be determined. I believe it will be in the library to go over order number 40, which was the letter where we're going to discuss our priorities as a committee for the new term.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spang. And that, you said that was at 7:30 next Monday? Yes. Okay, thank you very much. That's for Public Services. Are there any other announcements or reminders from councillors? Okay. I will just remind all of us, but also remind any members of the public who are following along that our next regular meeting is a Tuesday night meeting. There is a Monday holiday that week. So it's Tuesday the 17th. It will be at 7:00 p.m. here in council chambers as usual, but one day different from our usual. And with that, our thanks to Kim and the BevCam booth for keeping us streaming. Thanks to all of the members of the public who signed up to speak either as one of our public speakers making public comment at the beginning of our meeting. And again, those spots can be signed up for first come, first served by contacting the city clerk no later than 9:30 a.m. the morning of a meeting. And then we also had some folks who came to speak in some of our public hearings. Thank you to everyone who spoke. Thank you to members of the public who joined us. Thank you as well to members of our city staff who are here with us this evening. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? That carries 9-0, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.